popping here.
Hey guys, welcome back to another day of Kentucky Eagles Spirits Week. Today we've got a couple new guests with us here today. They are the founder and owners of a new brand we just brought to our portfolio. This is Pony Boy and this is Mike and Janelle.
Hello.
Could you all start out by telling us a little bit about your product and how you got started?
Well, thank you for having us. We're so happy to be repped by Kentucky Eagle, first off. Pony Boy has been a really fun project that we got the opportunity to do about 2 years ago. It all started, so Mike and I originally, we were in town during COVID. I am from here, growing up, but he's from Orlando from the start. But I came back, I was living in LA for about 10 years. I came back during COVID. He was on his way to Amsterdam, believe it or not. And we met on a little thing called Bumble.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. And
Where every great love story starts.
Exactly. Thank you, Bumble. And we just kind of hit the ground running. Like, we just knew, and before we actually even met, we had these very similar backgrounds and skill sets. So we thought, well, what if we just did this together and said yes to whatever came our way? So we were doing big events for large bourbon companies. We were doing, working with national restaurant accounts. We were just creating cocktails for a bunch of people, and we had this amazing opportunity down in Lexington for a charity event, and basically got the opportunity to put our cocktails in cans, and that's when Pony Boy was born. So that was about 2 years ago.
It's September of 2021.
Yeah, September 2021.
Yeah.
And so, we worked it was really exciting because, again, we had no idea where we were going to go with what we were doing. And with the drinks, it was so fun and crazy to translate cocktails to cans because we did all our formulations ourselves, which you can kind of speak on that.
Yeah, so we didn't use any kind of flavor house or hire outside help. We did original cocktails that we had tried before on tap at some of these events, and when we got the opportunity, we went into the kitchen literally and started working on this for about probably a year and a half. Dialed it in. We worked with a food scientist out of Denver for a little bit to get things rolling, kind of teach us the ins and outs of using acids in lieu of citruses and whatnot, and then just started our formulation and just trial and error, finally dialed it into these three, which we do have others on the back burner, so stay tuned for those.
Yeah, it was really cool because for these giant events we would do for bourbon companies, we had to basically batch cocktails. So we decided to fully batch them, keg them, carbonate them, and throw them on tap. So that ended up being a wild success because it just wasn't your typical bourbon cocktail, where normally it's an old-fashioned Boulevardier in Manhattan, which we love and have always drank, but there was never really a lot of options for bourbon to be mixed the way that any other spirit is mixed. And so when we did this, people were like, wow, this is bourbon,
Don't usually drink bourbon.
Yeah,
This is great.
and so when we got this opportunity, we basically took our best sellers and put them in the can.
Okay, why don't you all tell us a little bit about each flavor and kind of how you came up with it?
Yeah, okay, great. To start, I would say the Bourbon Popstar is our flagship flavor. That was the one that was really a hit when we used to keg and carbonate. It's our baby. So with the Bourbon Popstar, we use real strawberry juice. That was super important to us. We didn't want to just do flavor. So we use real strawberry. We also use bitters. We do a dry vermouth and a younger bourbon. So it may start a little bit sweet with the strawberry, but not sugary sweet, more of like a fruity sweet. And then it ends with the dry vermouth and the bourbon and makes you want to keep drinking. Yeah. So that's our
Firstborn.
firstborn. Yes.
The second one is the cream soda. Actually, all three. The cream soda was kind of our wild card. This is the one we intended to pitch to restaurants because it goes great with, it's just a nostalgic soda type cocktail. It's got the bourbon as well with sherry. It's got a little bit of vanilla in there and some little butterscotch undertones to it. So all the nuances of the bourbon all in one can. So yeah, it's kind of a nostalgic soda type cocktail. So it goes great with some burgers and fries and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so then our third is the My Cherry Amore. That was also a big hit. Basically, we don't use citrus in our cans just for shelf life reasons. So Mike played around with the acids to make it more of a sour black cherry. So again, we're using real cherry juice, which was really important in this because, as you know, cherry flavors sometimes can taste medicinal. So we worked really hard on it tasting like
syrup.
like real cherry juice, and it is real cherry juice. So with the acids, though, it makes it like a sour black cherry. We also have bitters in this as well, a dry vermouth, the young bourbon, and again, they're all fully carbonated. So this one we say is bright, it's kind of tart. This is for our like non-bourbon drinkers. They taste this and they really love it. They love this too, and honestly, from your point of view, who you like it when it's mixed, you said you did really like the cream soda
the
too.
cream soda was really good.
Yes, yay. So yeah, that's kind of the profiles. This is more of like a subtle, this is definitely a tart, and this has a little bit of that sweetness with vanilla and butterscotch.
Interesting enough, they're all 7% alcohol by volume. Each one in formulation has the same amount of bourbon in them. So when you say like, oh, you don't really taste the bourbon as much, or you get the bourbon on the back end a little bit, that's because of the acids, the way the acids play in with it, with the juices as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely makes them great cocktails for people who aren't always drinking bourbon, but to get them started and they're
Yeah,
drinks
it's
for
just a
everybody.
sessionable
Yeah.
way to drink bourbon, really.
Yeah.
It's not like you're having a 15 to 16% ABV cocktail like you get in a bar. It's more of a spritz style. We love to drink spritzes, so we wanted to create something that drank like a spritz and but still
exactly.
had the flavor of bourbon in there.
Yeah.
And not to mention the convenience that comes with the can as well. You take it everywhere you want to go. And if I'm not mistaken, they're best enjoyed out of the can, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so we, on the can, our tagline is chill it, pop it, giddy up, because those are the only instructions. We just wanted it to be so easy, so convenient, because it is in a can. So we, of course, we intend it to be drank out of a can, but of course people can do whatever they like.
Okay, so how, like, these cans are very unique looking. Like, how did you all come about, like, developing your brand image, like what you all wanted the vibe of it all to be?
Yeah. So basically, Mike and I have had a ton of experience in the bartending world, especially Mike with consulting, cocktail competitions, opening bars. I always worked in like chef-driven restaurants as a bartender, and so when it comes to what's in the can, it was so important that we loved it and that we wanted to crave it and that we really stand by every single ingredient. So that was super important to us, but we didn't want the vibe to feel so serious. So we chose to do this kind of 70s retro nostalgic feeling so that it could feel like you're walking into a backyard, you have a 4-pack, you break one off, you toss it to your bud. It's just relaxed, it's chill, and the 70s kind of really presents itself for that kind of vibe. And the stripes were something that we came up with on our own, drawing it in our sketch pad, and then we've had some designers along the way, help out, and then the final one that we landed on, he came up with this exact kind of design, which has been really fun. And that's our whole thing is a new way to drink whiskey. So we're really trying to show people that you can use bourbon in a different way, and it can be fun and not so, stiff and serious.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to with what you were saying, like it's not your average, like old-fashioned, like your typical bourbon drinks. Like it's different, it's fun, and it's good that it shows it through the cans.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. and it's local. It's only going to be available in Kentucky. So
Yeah, we're gonna launch in Kentucky and build our brand community here in Louisville and Lexington as well. So happy to be with Kentucky Eagle because they seem to have a arm's reach on everything locally. And yeah, and then we'll just see where it goes and scale out from there. That's our plan.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, we're so happy to have you all with us, and I appreciate you all coming out and telling
Thank
everybody
you.
about Pony Boy.
Thank you.
Everyone get out and try it.
Yes.
Chill it, pop it, giddy up.
That's right.
Hey